What is up, everybody? So filmdaily.co recently posted an article on Making a Murderer. They posted it on May 2nd, 2024. It is linked in the description below, so you can go have a view for yourself. It's an excellent read. It's very interesting. Go check it out. The point of the article is wondering why and asking people why Making a Murderer is so popular. What made it become one of Netflix's biggest true crime hits so far? It could be the biggest, man. There are still so many people out there that watch this. I don't know the viewership numbers of Making a Murderer compared to everything else, but millions and millions of people watch Making a Murderer and continue to watch Making a Murderer all across the world. I get messages and comments and DMs from people saying that they just discovered Making a Murderer. Now, it's been out for 9 years, almost 10, it'll be 10 years next year, I think, since Making a Murderer came out, and people are still discovering it for the first time. So I'm not going to read the entire article. I'm just going to go over the highlights of it. It is linked below, so you can go give it a read for yourself, and then let me know what you think of it. Why is Making a Murderer one of Netflix's top true crime hits? And one of the reasons they give is murky justice and vivid storytelling. Leaning heavily into the narrative of troubled justice, Making a Murderer, Netflix hooked viewers globally with its visceral examination of the American judicial process. The series weaves Stephen Avery's troubled past and his subsequent trials, gripping the audience and effectively turning armchair spectators into crime sleuths overnight. Netflix law degree all day right here. It talks about mastering the art of addiction. Daring narrative structure and meticulous storytelling play the crucial roles in Making a Murderer's addictive allure. The series strings together a bumpy sequence of events. Advocacy journalism meets cinematic pacing, giving the series a unique tone that's both informative and wildly suspenseful. Tangled webs and inner workings. Embedded in the exhilarating narrative of Making a Murderer is an exploration of the criminal justice system's gritty underworld. This exploration repel it with questionable police behavior, infuriating judicial rulings, and suspect testimonies provokes both public inquiry and disconcerting sense of voyeurism. A true crime sensation. Making a Murderer, Netflix. With Making a Murderer, Netflix did not only set the precedent for future true crime content with its well-crafted narrative, but also used its platform as a mirror reflecting on the failings into the American justice system. Its haunting narrative bracing honesty and the twists and turns of Avery's life and trial instilled in a deep-rooted fascination in the viewers, echoing tales of protagonists in other popular TV shows and period dramas. Furthermore, the way Making a Murderer, Netflix let viewers peep into every nook and cranny of the supposedly just judicial system, revealing disparities and gray areas of justice, rang uncomfortably true to life. This reality that worked like returning protagonists in tragic Shakespearean sonnets heightened the uncertainty and curiosity, making viewers feel like an explorer in this odyssey of truth and justice. Viewers, empathetic, related to the helpless bewilderment of Teresa Halbach's grieving family, distressed by Avery's seemingly wrongful conviction in an area obsessed with getting justice immediately or promptly, signing petitions for social causes. Making a Murderer tapped into the universal desire for truth and justice, viewing this narrative through compassion rather than cynicism. This very real shared experience made Making a Murderer not only addictive to watch, but hard to forget. And it also talks about how people have an insatiable craving for justice. So, for me, it's about the what ifs. What if things were done completely different? What if people that weren't supposed to be searching on the Avery salvage yard weren't searching on the Avery salvage yard? What if those people didn't find a bunch of the evidence against Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey? What if it was somebody else? What if it was the people that were from a different county, or that didn't have anything to do with Stephen Avery. There was a reason why they were told not to go search in the first place, even though they ended up going to search anyway. What if all of that stuff was found by somebody else? What if it was there was no suspicion behind it at all? What if Stephen Avery didn't do this? What if Stephen Avery did this? What if Brendan Dassey's line of questioning by the detectives went a different direction? But what if none of that stuff happened? What if everything pointed to Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey actually being 100% guilty of this crime? But that's not what happened. I don't care if you watched Making a Murderer, Convicting a Murderer, any other documentary or interview, or what books you read. There are a ton of questions, at least from my perspective. I'm very open, obviously, to hearing both sides of everything. And if things were different, if things pointed straight down the middle, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. It'd be like Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey are guilty. But man, there is so much that point to them not being guilty, especially Brendan Dassey. There is no doubt in my mind that that kid, he was, 15, 16 years old at the time, had absolutely nothing to do with that crime. Nothing. There's no evidence. There's no way that they cleaned Stephen Avery's bedroom to where there was no trace, no nothing, not even a speck of DNA or blood found. I don't care if he used a rug doctor to get the blood out of the carpet or not. They would have left some sort of blood, hair, something behind. Stephen Avery, if you look at the house, look at the salvage, look at everything. He is not the cleanest human on the planet. And that's not a shot. That's just look at the way they lived. So there is no way he moved every speck of everything and made sure every drop of everything was cleaned and then just left everything in the RAV4. People are like, oh, he had planned to crush the RAV4. That's why he didn't clean everything out of it. Well, why didn't he? Why didn't he crush the RAV4? There's just so many questions that at the very least need to lead to an evidentiary hearing to go back over everything, to see why things were done the way they were. Why were things not done better? Why was this so easily made into a documentary and so easily shown how things were done incorrectly? Imagine if everybody did their job to 100% of what they were supposed to do. I think for me anyway, that is what got me so interested in Making a Murderer and so interested in learning more after I finished Making a Murderer. I watch a ton of true crime documentaries, but I don't go out and look into all of them. I don't buy and read every book or read the trial transcripts of every true crime documentary that I watch. I watch, oh man, tons. And I've only ever done it with a few. And it's the ones where it's like, what if? What if? So that, to me, is what got me hooked. It's the what ifs. What about you? What was it that got you hooked into Making a Murderer? What is it that keeps you wanting to learn more? Let me know. Leave some comments below. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you again soon.